Happy Sunday, June 28th, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to this episode of ScreenPlayers Podcast Replay. The topic of this week was, which game world would you want to live in and why? And I had this chat together with our brand new UK team members, Angie and Jazz, which you'll just meet shortly. Let me just remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that you should subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell down below for the best independent news and insights on everything PlayStation and Xbox. I'm not going to hold you any longer. Grab your favorite drink, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Underneath me, I've got Daniele, who's filling in today, just to say hi.
Hello, hi. Now I can go, right?
How's it going?
Good. It's very hot here in Madrid, and I need to stay more calm today because otherwise I will sweat a lot.
Good. Excellent. That's a good thing.
Here, calm.
And then we've got Angela on the down left corner. Yeah. How's it? All good?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I've not got water or beer. I have, a small amount of Ribena left. Does that count?
Oh, Ribena.
Really out.
Wow. Very, very British, actually.
Yes, it is rather, yeah. Very tasty as well.
Then we've got Jazz on my left.
Hello. I didn't realise we were showing off our drinks. I've got an empty coffee cup.
Yeah, I've got an empty coffee cup. There you go. So,
Oh, yours is more empty than mine.
yeah, mine is like with caked coffee in there because I forgot to wash it at around lunchtime today. So, you know what? I actually might start with Daniele.
Me?
Anticipation there. I was like, oh, who's he going to pick?
Oh, wow. I actually selected this world without not too many doubts, I have to say. Okay, unlikely from the other questions that you asked during the other episodes, Lauren.
Right.
This time it was just like, yes, I want to be there.
Right.
Okay? And where I want to be is in the Earth. Okay, so it's not particular, like it's no particular, like another world. Okay, we're speaking still about the Earth. Okay.
Yeah.
No fantasy. It's still regular Earth as we know it, but in about 1,000 years from now. Was it about 1,000, Lauren?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, something like 1,000 years from now. Okay, so you might think about it like a futuristical, like technology, you know, gene replication and this stuff, things, right? But no, we are thinking about an environment that is more similar to the prehistoric environment with tribes and with, there is the technological part with machines. So we are thinking about Horizon Zero Dawn world. Okay, for those who haven't played it, it's exactly a game. It's like an action RPG-ish, let's say, game set around 10,000 years from now, where the story is like a post-apocalyptic world where man was nearly erased from the face of the earth, and life spawned again. I'm not gonna spoil any story. Okay, life spawned again, but it spawned like it spawned like millions of years ago, right? So they started actually with tribes and with bows and arrows, and then there is the little let's say touch of technology, which is pretty much you have animals that are you have normal animals, okay, but you also have like dinosaurs, robotics machines you have to fight with, and you will like the whole story unravels pretty sweetly, I have to say. And so this is a fascinating work for me because it's very natural. So the whole nature is very naturalistic. In the game itself, you have like very nice landscapes. If you have like very high resolution TVs and so on, you actually enjoy just sitting there and watch all the landscapes, which are amazing. So it's very nature oriented world. And then there is, of course, I mean, the cool thing about like robots and dinosaurs, which are like two of my favorite things on Earth. Okay, the robots and dinosaurs. You can also, of course, ride some robots. Exactly, if you combine them, that's it, right? And so yeah, I selected this, and then of course you have different tribes. You have, of course, like wars between tribes, and you have gods, different gods. I mean, the whole story is set very, very, very very well, and it's very, for those who haven't played it, it's very promising. So, who has played it?
I did.
Sorry.
Oh, Jazz and Angela, you didn't play
No,
it.
I don't have a
I have not
PlayStation.
played it.
So.
Okay, so Laura, what do you think then?
You know what? Obviously, I had already picked my game, my world, when I asked you that question. And as soon as you gave me your reply, which I wasn't expecting, to be honest with you, I was like, I could have picked that one. Yeah, it's as you said, it's just, I mean, graphically it's amazing, and without obviously spoiling anything, it just is a world that you want to spend your time in. As soon as you start playing this game, you're like, okay, something's gone wrong, because this is planet Earth, we are in the future, but yeah, as Daniela pointed out, there are tribes living almost like in prehistoric times, and then you got giant dinosaurs robots. And you're like, okay, what happened? So basically, the whole game is actually finding out what happened and potentially trying to fix it, right? You know, the world, it's one of the most complete in the sense that you've got snowy peaks, you've got, you know, a lot of greens, mountains. You don't have much. That's the only downside of Horizon Zero Dawn, is that you don't have much underwater or, you know, basically speaking, aquatic scenes. Like, you know, you have some rivers, but
Aren't they changing that for the sequel?
Exactly. So
That's what I heard. Yeah.
that's what I am really looking forward to in the sequel. That Guerrilla will basically now, thanks to the phenomenally fast SSD, will literally harnessing the power of the PlayStation 5 and create submarine exploration and faster loading times. By the way, we've got a question. Is it an open world? Yes, it is. You can travel pretty much wherever you want. The world is pretty big as well. Like, you know, it's not as big. What would you say in terms of comparing it with? Well, you have not played Red Dead Redemption 2 yet, but you've played The Witcher.
Yes. So in terms of size,
Yeah.
I think it's comparable.
As in roughly the same size?
Roughly the same size, but way more variated in Horizon. You have a lot of mountains, you have snow, you have like swamps.
Hang on a second.
I mean, you have...
Hang on a second. Well, swamps? What swamps do you have in Horizon Zero Dawn?
Yeah, you have swamps, I remember. Oh, you have swamps in The Witcher as well, actually, true.
So the only one that you don't have in The Witcher as of yet is the snowy peaks, but that's because you haven't gone to Skellige yet.
Is the what? The snow?
Yeah. The mountains and
but
the snowy peaks.
Yeah, but the mountains in The Witcher are not gonna be as amazing as Horizon, especially Frozen Wild. I'll tell you. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Horizon is a recent game, so yeah, I would, you know, graphically, obviously,
so,
will be better than The Witcher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely right.
Yeah, okay. Here we go. Well, Jazz, by the way.
But one thing that I wanted to mention, like, it's because I'm a very fan of like also post-apocalyptic games, like, but typically in post-apocalyptic games, they are not environments you really want to live, right?
Yeah.
Because typically they are full of like either militars or zombies or creatures, demons, whatever, right?
Yeah, this was my problem when I was trying to figure out a world I would actually like to live in.
Yeah, exactly, right. The same. But this is a post-apocalyptic because some sort of apocalypse went through, and but it's actually a nice world to live in. So this is the coincidence that made me choose this.
Well, no, I agree. I completely agree. And by the way, what I was gonna say is that Horizon Zero Dawn is actually being ported for PC. It's one of the few Sony games that is going to come to PC. So I actually think, Jazz, you should check it out.
Okay.
Because it's gameplay-wise is one of the best. I think together with Control is one of the best games of these past few years. I don't know if Daniela will agree with me. I'm waiting to hear. Okay, we're in agreement now. Excellent. And
finally.
And by the way, Angela, weird question, but are you by any chance a PlayStation Plus member?
I am, yes.
Okay. Well, take this with a grain of salt. It might be completely false, because usually these rumors are always false, but I've read on the web that the PlayStation Plus games for July might actually be Horizon Zero Dawn and don't remember the second one, but Horizon Zero Dawn apparently one of them.
Oh, cool.
So
Well,
we shall
definitely
see.
check it out then if that's the case.
Yeah. You definitely should. So
It's
yeah,
on my list.
it's in your list. Good. Which one was your pick? Because, well, I know which one was your pick, and it intrigues me. I have not played it yet, but it's in my list.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. It's probably not a very popular choice because I know there's got a lot of hate this
Okay.
game. But I narrowed it down to two. My first thought was Azeroth in the World of Warcraft, but I didn't like the idea of getting murdered by Murlocs, so I changed my mind.
There you go.
And I went for No Man's Sky because it's absolutely beautiful, lush landscapes there. You don't even have to play the game to enjoy this game. You can just walk around and discover things. You can have all kinds of fun just playing with the mining tool. You know, you can kill things with it, and you can also like make happy faces in the big lumps of alloys and things, which is quite kind of fun. But yeah, it's aside from the bad things about the game, which is the sentinels, which can get aggroed if you do too much mining or if you kill some wildlife. It's pretty much a nice, calm place to live, and I think the space travel is going to be a kind of fun element there too. Because you can, you get bored with one area, you can travel to another one quite easily. Again, if you discover a world that's not to your liking, if it's got too many bad weather, like there's acid rain on some planets, which obviously is not the best. It's not ideal.
Right.
Yeah, you can quite easily just jump back in your ship, go and check out the next planet along, and when you find a nice place there that's it's not got any hostile fauna, like there's these annoying crab creatures that seem to be on most planets that will attack you for no reason. But yeah, they're not too bad. If you can find a place that hasn't got those, or hostile sentinels, as I say, which is the sort of intergalactic police force, it seems. Nobody knows what that's there for. They're just these little robots, and they just come and investigate what you're doing. And they don't like the cut of your jib. They start firing at you.
Oh, there you go. Kind of like Horizon Zero Dawn. I've not played it, but it's in my list because of pretty much everything you described, right? So, the intergalactic sort of space travel and discovering the new planets, and as you described, I guess you have different planets with different life forms, and some are hostile, some are not. It's kind of what's the main purpose of the game? Is it like, does it have a story, or it's basically just about exploration?
It's most for me. It's mostly exploration. There is supposed to be an end game in it, but when the game originally came out, they said that it would take you a substantial amount of time to reach the end point of the game. However, some people have took this as a challenge and decided to just run with it and get to the end of whatever that was. That they won't spoil it, but then you just start the game again, and it's like, well, I don't really like that aspect of it. So I prefer to just explore, have a look around, learn languages. There's some great NPCs in this game as well. There's three main races. I think there's another one now, but I haven't played it for a little while. But there's the Gek, who look like a cross between some kind of small frog bird-like creature. It's weird.
Wow.
The Korvax, who look like I've forgotten the name of the band now, but they've got like TVs for heads almost.
Interesting.
Which is bizarre. Yeah.
So
if I remember the band, you'd go, oh yeah, I know what you mean now, but yeah, I've forgotten it.
Yeah.
And also there's the Vakeen, which just look like big grumpy things. They've got more harsh voices and stuff, but they all talk in their own language, and you discover these language stones wherever you go, and you learn a new word every time you discover one. So the more you find these, and the more you talk to these aliens, the more what they're saying makes sense to you, so you can make better choices.
Can you ride dinosaurs?
I have never seen a dinosaur. I think this was just to get people into the game with this footage you're seeing now. I mean, I've seen some large creatures, but I have never seen any dinosaurs. And they're never this closely knit either. You'll the base part of the game is to actually discover animals and things and scan them, and that can be part of your things you've learned.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can take a long time to find all the ones, and it becomes a game in itself, looking for these creatures. Sometimes they're underwater, sometimes they're in the sky, and scanning them in the sky is a pain in the backside. They move too fast.
We've got a comment that says, I really like the language thing. Yeah, no, I actually think the language thing is really nice. No, it sounds like something that I would like to do maybe after a long day, just to decompress and de-stress and kind of like, I'm just going to go and explore new planets kind of thing.
Well, my other half, he's not much of a gamer, but he will play No Man's Sky because he finds it relaxing.
Oh, really? Well, that says it all then.
Yeah. So even if you're not really into games, you can have a lot of fun with it, and he built his base over a period of time, and he's really got into that, and you can grow crops and things in your base, and that can be a component for something else you might need to build or make. But yeah, it's versatile, and like I say, you can make the game whatever you want it to be. Essentially, you might prefer one aspect of it to another, but yeah.
So strong RPG components as well to some extent. Yeah.
I think you can play with your friends now as well. When it started,
multiplayer.
It was single player. Yeah, you can. They said, you'll never find another player. That's how vast the world is. But I think because people complained, they wanted to play with their friends. They've added that aspect in now as well. So,
Dani, we should give it a go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting actually, but it reminded me a lot of Horizon actually.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
The setting and totally.
There's not that many things that can kill you though. That's the only. that's why I so my survival rate would probably be a lot higher if I did for this one.
Well, that's cool. Jazz, have you actually played this game? I've got a feeling you have. No.
I was one of those people who was like, oh, they lied, never. And then, I've seen it on sale a few times now, and I'll be like, oh, okay. That's getting closer and closer to a price that I'd pay.
Just to try it out,
Yeah, and I probably will get it at some point because it has grown so much. But I don't think I have any friends that play it. And I feel like it's one of those ones that's so vast, you get a bit bored just on your own after a while. I don't know.
Maybe. I've got a feeling.
It's addictive to begin with, but I can see it. Things like some games are like that, especially open world games. If you don't follow the storyline, you will get bogged down. You'll go, I can't be doing this anymore. Yeah. But I just wanted to play other games in the end. It's the only reason I put it down. It's not because I didn't like it anymore or anything like that. So.
No, I get it.
I'll definitely try it at some point. I think it's one of those ones you've got to play, even just because of all the stuff that surrounded it.
Yeah.
You have to play because
have your own opinion.
Exactly. Yeah.
I might be completely wrong, but I've got a feeling that I've actually got it on Game Pass for Xbox. I've got a feeling it's there. So
you know what? I think you might be right. Shall I just check if I've got it on there? I feel like I saw it recently.
Oh, you have Game Pass, right? For
PC.
I've
got the Xbox.
Well, now that you're talking, tell us, because yours is going to be fairly similar.
Yes. Well, I'll start by saying I was I think if you'd asked me what game world would you want to live in 10, 15 years ago, I'd have said Pokemon. Because when you're growing up, everyone wants Pokemon. But I think now I'm a bit older, it's ruined it for me. Because all I could think when I was like, oh cool, I'll just say Pokemon. Then I was like, but what about pet insurance? How much does food for a Charizard cost? I can't keep these things in my house, they're too big. So that sort of ruined it for me. But I was a bit sad. I was like, oh I'm old now. What I eventually decided on was very similar. Yeah. I picked Star Citizen, so the sci-fi element. Mainly because, yes, I thought, oh, cool, medieval stuff, which I really like. But then I was like, I'll die. 5 minutes in, I'll die. 100% it's happening. That, or you got to walk a load. Not for me. Lorenzo knows I'm not the most active of people, no matter how hard he's tried. So I picked Star Citizen because it's one of those ones where whenever I play it, I hop on after each update that they do. And every time I'm like, oh, I wouldn't mind living in this world. This is amazing. And so I just kind of feel it's one of those ones, they're fleshing it out as time goes on, and regardless of what your thoughts on about whether they'll ever actually release it or not, as a game world, it's really interesting, or a series of game worlds. I just feel it's one of those ones society-wise in the game, you're not necessarily limited by class or anything like that. It's just about if you can get the capital to buy a ship, then you're good to go, and you can just be unleashed upon the galaxy and you can go and explore. And it's, I think, relatively safe in terms of the world if you ignore the aliens that are attacking, but then if you don't join the Navy, you're fine. During my footage, I haven't actually like done the combat that much, and you'll see that eventually at some point in the footage because I die every time. I was like, I'll go get some combat footage, and just insta-died. So I wouldn't be involved in any of that stuff. But yeah, in terms of just like going along, flying along, trading stuff and getting money, I was like, I could see myself doing that. You know, just get your own ship. It's your place to call home. And yeah, as you guys were, same sort of as No Man's Sky, there's so many different planets. I mean, the one that it was just on with the dark was a snowy one. This is desert one, and they're still doing the basics at the moment. So eventually there'll be loads and loads and loads more. But yeah, I'm realizing just how bad I am at flying watching this footage. But yeah, so I picked Star Citizen just because it's just very well fleshed out, and I really like the sort of aesthetics of the world as well. So like the architecture, I really like. Every time I'm like, oh, I hope the future looks like this. This looks cool. And the same for all the various ships and stuff. So yeah, that's sort of what I picked. I don't know if anyone else has actually played it.
I have not.
haven't heard of this one. I'm
No,
afraid.
I haven't.
Okay. Well, it's if you haven't heard of it, it's basically like the biggest crowdfunded game ever, or thing ever. Maybe they've raised like dirty amounts of money, but it's taking forever to release because it's basically, so for anyone who doesn't know, it's basically a MMO with ships, first person. You can go on the ground like is happening here. You can explore caves. You can fight people. You can fight other players. You can fight NPCs. It's sort of like everything. You can go into a cave and mine, which is what's happening on the screen now. So yeah, it's and you can get a mining ship and do it on asteroids as well. But I can't afford one at the moment, so I couldn't get footage for that. But yeah, so it as a game world, it's going to be fleshed out. It's not necessarily that fleshed out now because it's still in development. But yeah, I was just like, okay, cool. I could see myself living in this. I could see what I'd be doing. And as I said at the start, every time I play it, I'm like, oh, if only I could live during this time. This is cool. So yeah.
Is this an open beta?
Sort of. So you have to buy the game.
Oh, okay.
So it's not open to like everyone. And then once you pledge, it's early access essentially. So you get your starter ship, and this is the biggest drawback for getting into stuff. This is the really janky combat that I'm terrible at. Embarrassingly, I cut it off, but I shot off its wing like straight away, and then it took me about 15 minutes to hit it again, and it was just spinning in place. It was really embarrassing. Anyway, but yeah, so the biggest sort of barrier to entry for Star Citizen is the price, because the starter ship, which is they're a bit crap, starts at like £50, and then people have spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands on ships, which I don't necessarily sort of agree with. But as a world, I really like it, and I think it's really fascinating and very fleshed out. And you can see even on the ships, I didn't get any footage, but it's even stuff like on the ship there's a toilet. Cool. I could see myself living on a ship with a toilet. Wouldn't want to not have a toilet on my ship.
That never happens normally.
Bloody hell.
But like, this is one of the space stations. It isn't one of the more popular ones, and if you ignore, they've got a bug at the moment where on seats NPCs stand up and stuff. But like, if you just imagine the world, I just really like it. Like, if you want to trade, you just go to these terminals, it gets loaded into your ship and stuff like that. So yeah, it's one that, as I say, every time I play it, I'm like, I wouldn't mind living here.
It's it looks from the footage, it actually looks like they're really going for something huge in terms, like, you know, I'm looking at this screen now, and you're basically using a computer with like its UI and kind of, you know, it's just impressive in terms of the scale.
Yeah, and that's the sort of insane thing, but also the really irritating thing about it is it's so big and they're doing everything, and sometimes you just want to be like, can you just like hurry up and release it, because like you don't need to do this. You can add it later. It's an online game. But yeah, no, it is just, the scale is insane, and the fact that you can just go, like, there's basically no loading screens and stuff. Like, the world is entirely seamless. You can go from a space station down to a planet and up again, and there's nothing to stop you going anywhere on that planet, regardless of the development stuff. The world itself is one that definitely I really like.
I would check it out. I would definitely check it out. What about you guys?
Yeah, it looks really
It sounds
good.
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it actually, like I say, it's got a lot of elements that No Man's Sky has, but it looks like it's actually better, to be honest with you.
Graphically,
Yeah, but
looks,
it's not out. That's the biggest downside about Star Citizen is it's not out and it's not going to be out for quite a while. But on what you were saying with No Man's Sky about like co-op and stuff, with Star Citizen, like on some of the ships you saw there was a seat next to me. Someone else could come and sit in that seat, and also you can have someone managing like the power levels or turning stuff on and off whilst you're in combat. You could be like, oh, I need shields back, and they'll be able to do that whilst you're busy flying. It's kind of insane and very realistic sort of thing.
Somebody can be your Chewbacca, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool. No, that was a poor attempt. All right, well then I'm gonna talk about mine because we've been in space for a bit now, so we're going back down to Earth. And with Daniela, we were in the future, although it didn't look like it. Now we're going back to the past, so we're jumping onto our DeLorean for a bit of a ride. I've chosen Red Dead Redemption 2 because I've always been a fan. I think like almost like every child probably of that period, of that time, right? So this new continent, America, with the cowboys and just about exploration, right? So you're exploring a new piece of land, which is a new frontier. And right now I'm not...
Can you also actually ride the horse, or you stand still the whole game?
No, you stand still the whole game. I've got a feeling that I might have cut my footage a little too... Let's have a look if I can...
Just a little,
here
exactly,
we
thank
go.
you.
Here we go.
You managed to move it forward to where you're standing still just in another
Exactly. You just changed the location and now it's standing still again. Okay, fine.
But that's because...
There we go.
But it's because it's, I'm not gonna lie, oftentimes you will stand still. This is a very slow game. Like, when you want to brew your coffee, it will take time. If you want to set up your camp thing, it will take time. When you kill an animal and you skin it, there's an animation where it actually skins the animal and all that.
You're totally passing that message with this footage.
Right? That's exactly what I was going for. But in terms of, the NPCs and how much the world feels lived, both in terms of animals and other NPCs, it's just amazing. The scale, talking about scale again, so the scale of this game is just incredible. I think in terms of the world, this is probably one of the largest. You've got like deserts, you've got mountains, you've got snowy peaks, you've got lakes, you've got the sea, you've got cities, and it's about that time in the US. The game also does, I'm trying not to spoil anything, but the game also does make you reflect on how, what happened to the native of the land, how the colonists or, the Europeans, then Americans, basically started pretty much taking their land. So you have that aspect which is, I don't know how much accurate it will be in the game in terms of you compare it to history, but it does make you think, which I like. In a game where you think, okay, hang on a second, we're talking about history now, and you're gonna like sit there for a few seconds thinking, okay, but anyway, here's how you skin the animals.
Not very graceful.
Doesn't make you reflect on killing animals, though.
No.
That's not the message of the game, I see.
But you see how you get a pig stuff, and then there's an animation for picking stuff. So it's one of those slow ass games, but in terms of graphically it's just amazing. Gameplay wise, it's been criticized a little bit because it's kind of like a Rockstar game, right? You got your gun, you shoot at people, that's it. Jazz, you actually played this game, right?
Yeah, I started it and then I don't know why. I just didn't get that far in. Oh, I was saying last week because I with these sorts of games I like to do everything, and I couldn't. And then I think I played it for like a solid week or two. Okay. Something must have happened that then made me play something else. I don't know. But I do need to. It's on the list to finish.
Do you gotta roughly remember where you're at?
Sort of. I was in like the second camp location, but it was a bit weird because I'd also found the biggest town because I really wanted nice clothes, so I went all the way there to get the nice like waistcoat and stuff.
Okay. We're very different in terms of playing style. I couldn't care less about clothing.
I was like, I need to look good, to feel good. Let's go.
You can tackle anything when you're dressed well.
Exactly.
Wow. No, and actually, Angela, so you didn't finish playing it.
No, same. I got so far, and then I think again I got distracted by another game and ended up playing that. But I can't remember which bit I got up to, but it was definitely when I was settled in a camp with a lot more people. So it was after the snowy bit.
Yeah.
And then it was the second one, I think. So it's probably on the same place you used to stop playing it.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing, you know. I think a lot of people get discouraged in the game at the very beginning, right? Because I'm not gonna lie, when you're in those snowy peaks, it's a little grim. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass. But then I think that's what I find curious. I think when you get to where you guys are, so those camps, I actually think the game kind of takes off there.
I think I got a bit lost, and then I tried the online multiplayer, and then somebody just murdered me, and I got I've had enough of this.
I didn't even try the multiplayer. I did GTA 5 multiplayer, and I was a bit like, okay. So I was like, I assume Red Dead multiplayer would be quite similar. And I saw videos, because it took so long to come out on PC, I sort of saw plenty of videos of people on consoles playing the multiplayer, so I kind of knew what it was, and I was like, okay.
Right.
It was like Fallout 76, you know, you're just minding your own business, hanging out, doing your thing, and then somebody comes along and just blows you away, and you're like, oh, cheers for that, mate. No, just play the game. I think that's less frustrating.
Yeah, no, I've tried the multiplayer really, really quickly, but I don't think I did get to the multiplayer part of it.
Right.
I don't know how to describe. Like, you know, that when you start a multiplayer, there's that kind of story at the beginning.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I think you get to create your own character and stuff.
Yeah. So I got to that bit, and then I didn't play it. I don't know if I can, kind of like. Well, I mean, obviously, Angela and Jazz, they've seen it with their own eyes, but I don't know if I can kind of like transmit to whoever is listening how vast and cool this world is. Like, you know, when we're talking about nature with Dani and Horizon Zero Dawn, and I've got a feeling that, yeah, okay, you know, bandits and all, but in terms of beauty, in terms of how good this world looks, you would definitely want to live here.
It's our world.
They have no dentists though.
Yeah.
Or the ones that they do, they don't give you any Novocaine, so.
Nah, but I guess the same was for Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, yes, that's about. Mind you, I'm futuristic in the past.
Or maybe even worse.
It could be, potentially.
Right now I'm in Saint Denis. This is like one of the major cities.
It's where you can buy a really nice waistcoat. Highly recommend.
Which shop? We want names.
It's not just a specific waistcoat shop, is it?
Well, it's a
With
clothing.
waistcoat shingle sticking outside.
You sound like a guy who would have his own tailor. You have a guy for waistcoats, don't you? The attention to detail, pretty much like Naughty Dog and other developers, the attention to details that they put in their games is just second to none. And that's kind of my take. That's why I love their games, and I'm hoping for a GTA 6 really soon, but it's not gonna happen. By the way,
I have never finished a GTA game.
Really?
I like them, and then I get so far, and then I think I just get frustrated with one quest. There's always one quest or one mission that you've got to do, and that's it.
Interesting.
I think in San Andreas there was a train one, and I just couldn't do that, so I just stopped playing that one.
Like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, I've had enough of this. Let's play something else.
It sounds like to me that you tend not to like open world games.
I don't know. I did finish Fallout 4. I did like that one. But I don't know. I think sometimes it's just too vast, as you were saying, and you get a bit, I get lost very easily.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think I prefer to follow a storyline and be guided through a game sometimes.
If I went to play Red Dead Redemption 2 again, I would probably start doing a lot of quests. Mm-hmm. And probably get lost. But yeah, no, these games, just amazing. Honestly.
I would go back to it.
I think you should. I mean, you need a lot of time, and I would encourage you maybe not to do every quest you see, but just shoot for the main quests. But
like Jazz says, I like to complete stuff. I like to complete something in an area and then move on to another area. And like you said, you will get bogged down that way.
I think that the biggest barrier for me with Red Dead, because this has happened to me once so far, is I'll play it for a bit and then I'll stop playing it. And then when I want to come back to it, I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to join halfway through, even though I know what's happened. I'll make a new game. And it's such a slow game to get started that at about the same point I stopped playing before, I lose interest again.
I've done that with Borderlands 2 so many times.
I think that's the biggest barrier for me with Red Dead is constantly restarting every time I pick it back up again. I need to probably not do that.
No, don't. Don't. I'd probably say you need to do... Well, I'm gonna give you the same tip I gave Angela. Just ignore waistcoats.
Heresy.
No one cares. You know.
That's it. I'm leaving this podcast now. How dare you?
half the people in that world anyway not dressed as good as you, so you know. No need to look good. You're riding your horse into swamps, as you can see right now, so no need to wear the good waistcoat for that. But yeah, honestly, if you guys can like stomach, you know, not putting, like, you know, kind of like push through, just keep on going. And that was it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed our time with us. As usual, we are live every Tuesday on Twitch at 6 p.m. UK. Link just right down below. I will be back here on YouTube this coming Tuesday with ScreenPlayers News. And until then, happy gaming.